What's up, everybody? I'm Marcus.
And I'm Ryan.
And together, we are the Northwest Sports Fanatics. We back at y'all with the Northwest Sports Fanatics daily news.
Rumors.
Highlights.
Coming soon.
Highlights coming soon. Updates. Gossip. Free agency in the NBA is going on right now. We have a couple of signings and some rumors we want to go over with you guys. So, anybody signed on the dotted line recently, all right?
Right. So in the last 2 days, we had a little bit of movement. So I wanted to just recap that. The first big name in the last 2 days is Mr. Lance Stephenson.
Born ready?
Mr. Born ready. Okay. So he was offered, obviously, 5 years, $44 million by the Pacers, right?
He stayed, right?
And he decided to decline that offer,
Wow.
right? So he thought he was worth a little bit more. Then the Mavs, right, had a 2-year, $20 million deal on the table if Chandler Parsons re-signed with Houston.
Oh,
but he didn't. So that kind of got nixed. Otherwise, we might have been hearing about Mr. Born Ready in a Maverick uniform with Dirk Nowitzki. But he did decide to sign yesterday, 3 years, $27 million.
Okay.
Right, with the Charlotte Hornets.
Wow.
So Michael Jordan, Patrick Ewing, you did your homework, Mr. John Cho out there. You know they courted him, they wined and dined him, they met in Vegas, and they got the deal done. And it's only $9 million per year, but this does give Lance some flexibility where after that contract's up, he's still pretty young, and
he's only 23, so 3 years he'll be 26, so he's still in line for a huge payday.
Right.
But you got to give props to Michael Jordan. You know, the way he's building that organization. And they went to the playoffs last year. Now they have something to build on. Lance Stephenson, Noah Vonleh, they just drafted as well.
So you got Kemba Walker, Al Jefferson. So I know they really wanted the Al Jefferson, Lance Stephenson duo. So now they got it. So now we're just going to have to see how hard Lance plays for this team and if maybe they can become a playoff, contender, like bottom, number 7, number 8 seed if they can climb into the playoffs. So we'll have to wait and see. But shout out to Lance, if that's what he wants to do. But it does create a big blow for the Pacers because the identity is gone now, and I still think they'll be a top 4 seed in the East.
Definitely,
but they're not going to be number 1 or number 2. That's for sure, based on all the movement we've seen.
Lance was kind of the motor that made that engine go. Everything was getting started because of Lance, his defense, his passing, his triple doubles, his antics, the blowing in the air.
Right.
Lance was kind of the emotional roller coaster for the Indiana Pacers. So now it's all on you, Evan Turner, number 2 pick in the draft.
Right. Mr. PG, Paul George needs to lead the way, so we'll see how the Pacers can recover. Maybe they'll get a signing of someone. I think the rumor right now is Rodney Stuckey is someone that they have their eyes on, so keep tuned and stay tuned for that. Next name, Carlos Boozer.
Okay.
All right. Formerly of the Chicago Bulls. He got amnestied, so they had to let him go. And it just so happens Pau Gasol from the Lakers went to the Bulls because he felt that was the right fit. And we're just going to switch spots. So Carlos Boozer now is a Los Angeles Laker.
Okay, nice move.
Right?
Nice
so that's a nice little pickup to replace Pau. 13.7 points per game, 8.3 rebounds. But get this. Mr. Carlos Boozer only played 28 minutes a game. So that means that Mr. Thibodeau, the head coach, did not believe in Carlos Boozer in the fourth quarter. Otherwise, he'd have more minutes. Now, can he still play on, a halfway effective level, at this point of his career? Yes. But how much do you really expect from him? I don't really think you can get 15 and 10 from him anymore. But at least it gives Lakers another piece, maybe someone that Julius Randle can learn from, and build and grow off of. And, we'll see where the Lakers go. Obviously, they have Kobe, and they're going to be hiring their new coach. So that's what I have for Lance Stephenson and Carlos Boozer. Any other names that have gotten signed?
I have a couple of signings to update you guys on as well. First off, PG, Devin Harris.
Okay.
So he resigned with the Dallas Mavericks.
All right.
4 years, $16.5 million. Did I hear that he played on the veterans minimum last year?
Yeah, he was playing on the cheap last year. So maybe, prove something that, not only to himself, but to everyone else in the league that he still has some game.
So I got 7 points and 4.5 assists, get you 4 years, $16 million. So shout out to Devin Harris for that. Also, Glenn Big Baby Davis.
Okay.
He's stand put with his old coach, Doc Rivers, out there with the Clippers. He signed for a 1 year, $1.2 million. And also, My Wizards, man. I mean, we lost Trevor Ariza,
Okay.
but we came back and we picked up the truth, Mr. Paul Pierce.
Right, nice veteran.
Nice veteran. We lost Trevor Booker. He went out the door.
Okay.
But we picked up, we brought Drew Gooden back.
Which is a great pick, a nice, solid energy player.
Hey, Drew Gooden, if you don't know, Drew Gooden is Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers,
Right.
his favorite NBA player. So that must tell you something. We brought Drew Gooden back, and we also picked up Chris Humphries.
Okay.
All right, he's a nice, solid player, and also DeJuan Blair.
Yeah, you formerly of the Spurs and the Mavericks, kind of that little grinder, rebounder, almost like a Drew Gooden kind of player.
That's a huge pickup for us because we wanted to draft Blair in the second round, but he went a couple of spots earlier to the Spurs. Rumors. So here's the rumor, the latest. Everybody probably Eric Bledsoe. He's a restricted free agent.
Yeah, one of the best players left that's available.
Young, he's only 24. So the Suns offered him a 4-year, $48 million extension.
Okay.
And he turned it down.
Wow, really? $12 million a year, and he feels he's worth more, huh?
He turned it down. He wants max money. Eric Bledsoe in his camp wants 5 years, $80 million.
Woo!
They want John Wall money, but Mr. Bledsoe, you had a good year last year, but you was injured throughout probably most or half of the season.
Right.
17 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds. It's pretty solid, but you can't give you a max contract based off of what, 3/4 of a year of production.
Right. We need to see a little bit more consistency from someone like that to get a max deal.
That's
and it's nice to shoot for the stars.
Hey, no doubt. Eric Bledsoe, I think you're one of the nice up and coming point guards in this game, but we need to see a little bit more production before we can cut that check.
Right. Before he gets that cheddar.
Yes, sir. Now, what about you? Any more rumors going on right now?
I do have some rumors. So it just broke about an hour ago that before today, that the Cleveland Cavaliers were not interested in trading Andrew Wiggins away for anything to do with Kevin Love.
Okay.
They are interested in Kevin Love, but just were not willing to give up Andrew Wiggins. But now, let's fast forward, right, to about an hour ago until now. Now the word is that Andrew Wiggins is on the table.
Okay.
And they are reconsidering possibly adding him to the deal. I don't know if it's going to deal, I assume Wiggins, another player, and maybe a draft pick. So maybe Wiggins, Dion Waiters, and a draft pick, a first-round draft pick for next year's draft, something of that nature. But it is kind of shocking, and I know that in Kevin Love's camp, that if he does sign with Cleveland, that he'll be able to do a long-term deal. And so you already got Kyrie locked up. You got LeBron for 2 years. If you get Kevin Love in there for about 5 or 6 years, maybe 5 years, then you're pretty much set. You got a nice little trio there. But the only thing that concerns me is Andrew Wiggins is the #1 pick in the draft. I've never heard of the #1 pick in the draft that could be the next, baby Tracy McGrady, right? And you're just going to let him go,
that comparison.
right? And even though Kevin Love is a top 10 player in the NBA, the potential that this guy has, I watched the game on Summer League, just got over with. I watched the whole game. He went to the free throw line 20 times. I mean, this kid is athletic. He can block. He can defend. Right? His jump shot needs a little bit of work, but that'll come in time. But I really like his confidence out there, and it'll be kind of odd and strange to see a #1 pick get traded that soon before he even plays his first game, right?
Yeah, that would be kind of odd, but you got to look at the scenario. Which player would Cleveland need more to win a championship? Andrew Wiggins or Kevin Love?
Well, I guess if you want now,
yes, now
Kevin Love.
Okay.
Future, then Andrew Wiggins.
Exactly. And LeBron, we love LeBron. He's coming up to the 30 years of age.
Right.
Even though I don't see him, he's special. He's not going to slow down anytime soon.
And speaking of LeBron, just to have a little comment, it's actually reported that now he is known as the most recognized athlete in sports, even over Michael Jordan for the very first time, based on popularity. So
shout out to LeBron.
Shout out to LeBron. He's finally, getting that recognition. I mean, I know Michael.
You made it.
Yeah, you made it, LeBron. So King James is doing it. Big things there in Cleveland. I know a lot of bandwagoners are going to be start buying those jerseys real quick.
Hopping back
on that wagon.
Back to the Cavs.
Right, and then speaking of the Cavs, I got another rumor. So you have LeBron James, right? You brought in his friend, James Jones, a nice little vet there. Now the Mike Miller situation is turning into another player. So you got James Jones, you got Mike Miller, you got LeBron James. Let's bring over another player. Who could be another player from the Heat, right, that Cleveland would love to have on their team? Mr. Ray Jesus Shuttlesworth Allen.
Wow.
Okay, and they're courting him big time right now. LeBron, Mike Miller, James Jones, and he's going to turn 39 right here in a couple days. He played 73 games for the Heat. 9.3 points per game.
Okay.
I'll
take that from a 39-year-old.
Right, a little low for maybe what you expect from the, one of the greatest shooters of all time besides Reggie Miller. Right, 41% shooting in the playoffs. But I would really like to see Ray Allen, if he is going to play one more year, go to Cleveland. Just go with your friends. I mean, if you're going to try to win that ring, that's going to be the best chance that you're going to have, playing with people that you are familiar with, comfortable with, and that will give him another shooter. 3 shooters, Mike Miller, James Jones, Ray Allen, on top of all the talent you already have in Cleveland.
Yeah, that would be a nice piece of the puzzle to add to what they already have there in Cleveland. And I wouldn't object to that.
Right, and I know Ray Allen.
One more year, man.
Right, one more year, and Ray Allen's going to fit pretty much in anywhere. I mean, it's just wherever he wants to play.
He's a shooter. Everybody could use shooters.
Right, anyone could use a Reggie Miller or Ray Allen anytime. So look out for that. And then I have one last rumor. Pistons and Kings right now are talking about a Josh Smith trade.
Okay.
All right, so Josh Smith went from, obviously, the Hawks, right, pretty successful player, all-star, went, obviously, to the Pistons with Andre Drummond and obviously Greg Monroe, but it's not really working right now. So now the word is
not enough space because you have 3 players that operates best within the low blocks down in the down low.
Right.
So one of them has to go.
Right. You can only have 2 guys in the block,
right.
Not 3. So that is true. And I know the Blazers were interested in Greg Monroe, but since we got, obviously, Chris Kaman, that kind of fell through. Okay. So now the rumor is that the Kings really like the idea of a big 3. But their big 3 is not as popular as maybe like Wade, LeBron, and Bosh that we've heard of in the past, right? They're thinking DeMarcus Cousins, right? Very underrated player with a little attitude. Okay. Rudy Gay, right? And Josh Smith. So they're trying to maybe build their little trio there, and they already have McLemore there, on the up and up. So we'll have to see how that goes. But it could happen. And then the thing is, on the Pistons side, you don't really get a whole lot in return. You would get Jason Thompson and Derek Williams, right, who's a project, or Jason Williams and Jason Terry, the wily vet, 3-point shooter, formerly on Dallas Mavericks in their championship squad a few years back. So that is kind of the rumor right now. I don't know if that deal is going to happen, but they're kind of talking about it right now, and they're kind of going into the details. So stay tuned for that. That might happen.
Hey, as soon as it break news, we'll be right at you guys with new video.
Right
now, we do have a couple of questions from some special people out there to us.
All right.
First off, we have Mr. Brian Taylor out there in Washington, D.C. He had a couple of questions. He wants to know how the Skins' offensive line and secondary is looking so far.
Okay.
All right. Right now, the O-line is a work in progress. I can tell you that. They drafted Spencer Long and Morgan Moses this year. But right now, neither looks like they'll be ready to start. So more of a 2015 project for them. You still have Tyler Columbus, Chris Chester, question marks, not the best players.
Right,
but
guys that could be upgraded.
Serviceable.
Right.
All right. We brought in Sean Luavo to play the left guard. We moved Corey Steinswager to the center position. So the O-line is really a work in progress. And, we have the big hoss out there,
Trent Williams, right? The best player on your O-line.
Yeah, so the O-line is a work in progress. It's not going to be fixed overnight, but I say as the season goes along, I can see a progression and getting better and better as they get used to the new fit and scheme. The secondary. We still have D Hall back there, and Emerson has been bumped up to the starting corner opposite of D Hall.
Right, Bakari Rambo, Philip Thomas back there too.
Yep, Bakari Rambo, Philip Thomas. We brought in Ryan Clark, and we also brought back Merriweather to help kind of mentor the 2 young ones. The future of our secondary is in one of those safeties panning out, Philip Thomas or Bakari Rambo. Maybe if we're lucky, it's both. We brought in Tracy Porter. We let go Josh Wilson. And we re-signed E.J. Biggers. And maybe here's a name for you to look out for, Mr. Brian Taylor, Chase Minifield.
Okay. And I do like out of all the guys in the secondary, besides, Rambo and obviously Philip Thomas, but the guy to look out for is Emerson. Because Emerson is going to be the one that after D'Angelo Hall moves on and retires from being a Skin, that's going to be their number 1 guy until they bring in maybe another free agent or draft another corner to solidify both sides.
He's the ball hawk.
Yeah, I agree. So that's going to be a guy you're definitely going to watch out for, and he'll make plays. It wouldn't surprise me if he ends up getting 4 or 5 picks this upcoming season.
Yes, sir.
And then we got another question real quick, Mr. Brendan Gallagher. All right, he's got a question. He's got, who is going to be a top seed in the East and the West? who is going to, kind of run these divisions as we go into the NBA next year. So based on, when we talked about it, based on the trades that have happened as of today, for the East Coast, I think we went Cavaliers number one, obviously with the LeBron James and all the movement now. Even if Wiggins decides to go or not go, you still got to keep them up there as the favorite with the moves that they've made. And if they get, obviously, Kevin Love, then they're number one at that spot. Number two, this was kind of tough, but we're going to go Chicago Bulls. You made some good movement there. You didn't get Melo, but you did get Pau Gasol, right? And you still got Jimmy Butler.
Derrick Rose coming back.
Right, Dougie McBuckets in the draft, Doug McDermott.
Watch out for him.
Watch out for him. And that, I think in a different team, I don't think he'd succeed, but with the Bulls,
perfect.
I know it's going to be a perfect fit. Thibodeau is going to really mentor him well. And Derrick Rose, that's a question mark. If he stays healthy, they could contend for a number one seed because sometimes it takes time for a team to gel. We saw that with the big three initially. It took them a little while. So Cleveland may need some time to gel, but watch out for the Bulls. And then I got to go your Wizards. Number three, the Wizards, you could argue they could be number two. With all the moves they made, they only lost Ariza, right? But you made up for it in Paul Pierce, Drew Gooden, all these guys that you're signing off the bench.
Otto Porter, you having a great summer league this year too, so watch out for Otto Porter.
Right, he should get some playing time and be able to step up, so that's what we have there. And then last but not least, we were kind of debating between the Heat and the Pacers. Pacers lost Lance Stevenson, Heat lost LeBron James, right? But you got to think as long as they keep Roy Hibbert and most of that crew, you got to give, right, and Paul George, you got to give the Pacers the edge. So you go Cavs, Bulls, Wizards, Pacers for our top four, and going into the West
side,
right? Number one, San Antonio Spurs, Mr. Popovich, you got to give him that respect. Number two, Mr. KD and Mr. Westbrook, the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're always a perennial threat year to year. Number three was tough because we kind of debated on, trades and what happened, but we have to go probably, even though the Portland Trailblazers beat this team, we're going to have to go Houston Rockets, right?
Addition by subtraction.
You got James Harden, you got Dwight Howard, but now you got Trevor Ariza, a guy that can play D, right? And you lost Jeremy Lin, right? But now you got Patrick Beverley going to start for you, give you a little grittiness, a defensive point guard.
And he'll be back healthy.
Right? And you got Terrence Jones going to be improving.
My God, that's our guy.
Right? So we like Terrence Jones, so look out for them to keep improving and sliding up that scale to be the top.
Who's the last team?
And the last team, I would like to say it's the Portland Trailblazers, but I do want to see them do a little bit more on that depth on that bench. So we're going to have to go Blake Griffin and CP3 with the Los Angeles Clippers.
All right.
They still have a good coach and obviously Doc Rivers. Right. You got two perennial all-stars that are on commercials all the time, and until someone shuts them up, it's going to be their spot, and obviously they're going to be, wanting to grow and get to that number one seed. So those are our teams: Cavs, Bulls, Wizards, Pacers, Spurs, Thunder, Rockets, and Clippers.
Hey, Northwest Sports Fanatics, you have any questions you want to ask us, comments, leave us on the page, and we'll do our best to get to it as soon as possible.
Northwest Sports Fanatics, share the page, just share the page, just share the page.
Tell a friend and tell a friend and tell a friend.
Northwest Sports Fanatics.